Welcome to the Delmarva Almanac and the summer edition of Arts and Times, Delmarva's quarterly arts magazine and community calendar. During the summer, Allen Sklar can be found running a business renting bikes for people to ride on Ocean City's Boardwalk. For a good part of the rest of the year, you'll find him on Assateague, fishing and taking magnificent photographs of the island's wildlife. Photography began for him with something that was at the same time a loss and a gift.
A friend of mine was killed in Vietnam, Barry Berger. He was the first local person that anyone knew who was killed in that war. And his parents gave me his camera. This was when I was a freshman in college, so it would have been 1969. And I fell in love with photography back then, and I did a little photography work there with the school paper where I went to college. And then I drifted in and out of it because I'm an obsessive compulsive kind of guy, and I got obsessed with the Grateful Dead, which I photographed for them for 5 years for a couple of magazines. And then I went into cycling, and then I went into fishing, and the photography was kind of a steady thing all along. But when I went digital, it became more the thing because the instant gratification of being able to see what you're doing. And I really think it made me a better photographer too. Being able to see what you're doing immediately and all this, what your photograph was going to look like. It really makes you a better photographer. And that's why everyone is a better photographer now, because they don't have to wait for the film to come back and see whether their f-stop was right or their exposure was good. Birds at the present time are my most popular selling photographs. Second would be odd weather phenomena, like snow in Ocean City where the boardwalk is in drifts, and things of that nature. But the real secret for me is not so much my technical ability or really even being in the right place at the right time, but luck. It's just luck. You're there. I know my equipment. I know what I want to do. I don't have to think about the equipment and how to do what I want to do. But the luck of being in a place where something is happening, whether it's a fire or whether it's a bird or whatever. And so I think that some of my very best images are based on luck.
Allen may attribute much of his photographic success to luck, but time is Allen's most valuable resource. The time it takes to know your equipment and especially to know your subject.
When I started to really get into photography, when I went digital, which I guess was about 12 years ago, I started looking at photography forums, and I became somewhat obsessed with people who photograph birds in flight. So of course I see birds in flight at Assateague all the time, and so I started practicing, and I was just so depressed with the results. I could take a picture of anything but capturing a bird in flight. It sucked. So a photographer suggested to me that I start shooting seagulls. And so what I did is I started feeding seagulls while I was fishing. You know, I could still look at my rods, I could feed seagulls, and I could shoot the birds. And I've shot 10,000 photographs of seagulls. And finding out through that the speed necessary to freeze the action, the speed necessary if you want a blurry wingtip, the depth of field necessary from what distance you're shooting the bird to make the background blurry if that's what you want, or to make the bird totally sharp if that's what you want, and the technique, the hardest thing, as you said, the shake. A smooth pan is not something you can do unless you do it over and over and over again. The first time that I ever shot an eagle, was feeding seagulls. And the eagle came down. I thought I would crap myself. I didn't see the bird coming. I was shooting the seagulls, they disappeared, and all of a sudden there's an eagle there. Well, I never even got the shot of the eagle picking up the bait. I got his tail feathers as he was taking off, and even that wasn't in focus. But it really, really got me excited. And after that, I started really watching for the eagles. And I watched their habits, and I studied them, I read about them. And with all this extended time period of fishing down there, I see them all the time. And I started to get better and better photographs of them. Finally to the point where I really think the eagles, they knew me. And they know me, as some of them do, and they like me.
Snowy Owl spent a good part of this past winter in the mid-Atlantic region. Allen's background in biology served him well in documenting the visit of these amazing white birds with black spots and piercing yellow eyes. Allen also got to photograph the work of scientists who were studying them.
We had snowy owls 2 previous years, and they were here for about a month. We had one year and 2 another year that I know of. There may have been others. And I photographed them a little bit then, and I took an interest in them. And when this eruption came back, I was ready. And of course, fishing 5 days a week and being on the beach all winter long, I saw the owls every day. And they became used to me. And I developed a technique to get close to them without flushing them, because you don't really want to disturb the bird. You want to leave the bird. If he flies, he's flying because he wanted to fly, not because you scared the bird. And so from being around them and studying them so much, I would sit in my truck and watch them with binoculars for hours and hours to see how they do what they do. He's there, he's hunting. If he's awake, he's hunting. People say they're sleeping on the dunes. I never saw an owl sleep on the dunes. They're there, their eyes are at least partially open, and they're looking around. Nothing gets past them. So anyway, so I ended up with some really great owl photographs, and because they were so nice, people did purchase them, and that's been really nice too.
Though he also does commercial photography, Allen takes pictures for the love of it.
For the next 30 or 40 days, fishing photography is a major part of what I do. And fishing photography, I have sold to fishing magazines and the DNR and all the and stuff like that, but that is not a real money-making thing for me. It's done out of pleasure and the joy of sharing what I do, because fishing, I'm just as passionate about that as I am about photography, and just as anal about it as photography. And I like to take photographs of people releasing fish. I'm very much into catch and release. Not that I don't eat fish, I do. But a photograph of a person releasing a large fish in the surf is, to me, the epitome of beauty. It is the most beautiful thing in the world to see this process, because it's not like a boat where you take your fish and you toss him overboard. In the surf, a large fish is tired, and you have to, look, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. That's how into it I am. The fish is tired. You have to bring him back to life. You can't throw him in the ocean. He'll roll up with the wave action and die. You have to hold him in the water until the fish is strong enough to go. And in this process, especially if it's a red or black drum, the fish vibrates and it drums. You go, bah, 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 and you feel the whole body of the fish drumming. And the drumming intensity changes as the fish revives. And so you hold on to the back of the tail and you cradle the front of the fish. And you stand in the water up to your waist if it's possible. And you hold the fish in the water and you wait for him to revive. And when you feel the drumming, increase, and you feel the tail trying to move, you know that you're very close. And then when you give him the final shove and you release him, and the tail splashes water in your face, there's nothing better than that. It beats any experience, including childbirth, marriage. There's nothing that beats releasing a red drum in the surf. There's absolutely nothing in this world. It's the most into nature thing that a human being can experience. It's wonderful.
Allen himself is featured on the cover of this year's Maryland DNR Fishing Guide. The picture, taken by his friend and fellow fisherman Max Simpson, shows Allen releasing a 50-inch red drum into the surf on Assateague. You can find Allen's work for sale at the Framing Gallery in West Ocean City and through his online gallery, assateaguephotos.com. Arts and Times is funded by Worcester County Tourism. Explore the beach and beyond at visitworcester.org. Thank you for watching. This has been a Moonshell production.